This is a video on how to draw realistic hair with me, Gwen Roberts. For this drawing, I'm going to use a black Conte pencil, a Staedtler Mars Lumograph black carbon pencil in 8B and 4B, a Derwent pencil eraser and a Tombow mono eraser. You can also apply this technique using just graphite or charcoal. Start with the Conte pencil. Always use the darkest, softest pencils first. As you can see, I've already drawn the outline of the hair. And covered the whole area with an even tone. This gives me a base value on which to work. I draw in the most prominent shadows to begin with. I apply the pencil strokes in the same direction as the hair. Can you see how I draw with a flicking motion? This ensures that the strokes taper, because I don't want any blunt pencil lines. Because the hair wouldn't look realistic. I prefer to work in sections. But you can work on the whole head area if you prefer. I work from dark to light, and I don't concern myself with any detail at this stage. It's more important to get the values correct first. I apply the shadows of the strands within the clumps as the drawing progresses. And gradually the drawing becomes more detailed. It's a long process and a long video, but stick with me. It'll be worth it. I'll let you watch me for a while. Okay, it's ready to move on to the next stage. need to soften the pencil strokes. I prefer to use a soft filbert brush. I blend the whole area, brushing in the same direction as the pencil strokes. This keeps the strokes defined. Unless, of course, you deliberately want a blurry effect. You don't have to use a brush, you can use anything to blend with. Cotton buds, a blending stump or tissue will work just as well. I'll let you watch again for a moment. It's looking good, but the drawing needs more definition. Now I add highlights. For this I use a Derwent pencil eraser. If you're unfamiliar with one of these, it's simply a pencil with an eraser instead of graphite. I keep the tip blunt because it enables me to remove the medium gradually and gently, and it gives softer results. I think that's enough highlights. Now I'm going to add more detail. Using the 8B pencil, I apply smaller shadows and darker hairs. The Staedtler carbon pencils blend well with the Conte. And they allow finer detail. I add more shadows within the clumps. I recommend that you keep the pencil sharp. Especially for hair and especially when drawing individual hairs. I regard hair as having 3 layers. And I apply this idea to the drawing as well. The lower layer is that closest to the scalp. And the overall value I rendered at the start of the drawing. The middle layer is the clumps and strands that I'm working on now. And finally the top layer. These are the individual wayward hairs or smaller clumps that go in a different direction to the rest of the hair. And the top layer is added right at the end. Bear in mind that hair has movement, so don't restrict yourself to faithfully replicating the reference photo. As long as it's believable, that's what really matters. One more brush before the next step. It's time for more highlights. This time I use a Tombow mono eraser. It has a fine tip and enables me to draw individual hairs that catch the light. Now I take the 4B pencil and I apply more dark hairs in the mid-tone sections. Switching back to the mono eraser to apply more highlights. I use the same flicking motion as I did with the pencils. And back to the 4B carbon pencil again. I switch my tools quite a lot at this stage. More highlights with the mono eraser. It really doesn't matter how many times you switch tools. What really matters is that you get an instinct for what is needed where and when. I'll let you watch for a while. It's starting to look real now. But I need to give more definition to the clumped strands and shadows. And at this point I add individual hairs and smaller strands. I'm still switching my tools. Almost finished. It's time to put in the final touches. I'm going to draw in the individual hairs on the surface. And I regard this as the top layer. I alternate between the 8B and the 4B. Well, I hope this has been a useful video. Would you like to know more about my techniques? Well, I've written a book and it's now available on Amazon. It's called How to Draw Photorealistic Portraits by me, Gwen Roberts. Thanks for watching.